Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. You are watching Study with Sir Sheraz, and in today's lecture, we are going to talk about the radioactivity. Basically, radioactivity is a phenomena that was discovered by the Henry Becquerel. First of all, if we talk about the history of the radioactivity, so radioactivity was discovered by the Henry Becquerel during an accidental observation of the fogging of photographic plate. So he observed the blackening or fogging of the photographic plate exposed to uranium salt. Actually, it is the history that he was the person who kept the photographic plate covered with a black paper in a box, and after some time he observed that the photographic plate was tarnished and it was blackened or fogged. So he was amused with the observation that why the photographic plate was fogged when nothing has happened to that. So after some time he discovered that there was some mineral material that was also kept in the box, and he started observing and studying that mineral material. So basically that mineral material was the uranium oxide or the salts of uranium, and he proposed that certain invisible radiations were produced from the uranium salts that tarnish the photographic plate. Basically, photographic plate is a glass plate or plastic plate that is coated with the zinc sulfide. So basically, this zinc sulfide is considered as a photographic material or the fluorescent material, and whenever it is exposed to the radiation, these change the color. So this was an accidental discovery by Henry Becquerel. Next is the definition of the radioactivity. So the spontaneous emission of radiations by an element is known as the radioactivity. As I have mentioned earlier that certain radiations were produced from the uranium salt or the uranium compound, but nothing was done to the uranium salt or compound. They were produced spontaneously after, with the passage of the time. So the spontaneous emission of radiation is known as the radioactivity. Radio word comes from the radiation and activity comes from the act of releasing. And the elements or the material which emits radiation is known as the radioactive material. So he observed that the radioactivity was not affected by factors or external factors like temperature, pressure, and chemical conditions. So radioactivity is somewhat different from the other types of reactions that we study commonly in the chemistry, because that reactions are particularly affected by the factors like temperature, pressure, and the humidity, presence of some solvent, presence of other compounds. But this phenomena is not affected by such external factors. So you can say that radioactivity is an intrinsic property of the material that's not affected by the environmental factors. After the discovery of radioactivity, Rutherford studied the nature of the radiation. So Rutherford was the person who started working with the radiation and with the nature of radiation, and he observed that there were three major types of the radiation that were produced from the radioactive material, and that he named as the alpha, beta, and gamma radiations. And he studied the nature and the composition, and you can say the properties of these radiation by using the electric field. In the next lecture, we will discuss in detail the properties of alpha, beta, and gamma radiation. So stay tuned with us. We will meet in the next video. Up till then, Allah Hafiz.